little Creed retrospective. So we do the no negotiation recommendation for these episodes going on. I gave Trent Creed, and he volunteered just to watch all three, and I got Dune. So
Yeah.
I watched Dune. You watched all three Creed movies, and first off, before we go into that, have you seen any of the Rocky movies?
Yes, I think I've seen a majority of them.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you which ones without actually looking at them, but yeah, I've seen like 3 or 4 of them.
I feel like the Rocky movies and the Creed movies really are just defined as by the main antagonist. Like, it's the one with Drago. Oh, it's the one with blank, 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 whoever it is in that point.
Yeah.
That's really how you define those movies. No, I don't think anyone actually knows like Rocky 1, 2, whatever, however many there are. There's like 4 or 5.
And then there's like 4, and then there was like one called Rocky Balboa or something like that.
Yeah, but I guess starting with Creed 1, this film came out in 2015. I think this is really the start of Michael B. Jordan and Tessa Thompson, for that matter, descent into like superstardom. He was a star before this. I'm not saying this put him on the map or anything, but I think this was really his defining role going into the 2020s. And what did you think about it, Trent?
I thought it was really good. This was the one movie out of the trilogy that I had seen, and it was a good movie to revisit. I didn't remember a lot that happened, but yeah, I thought that it was a really good movie, especially upon a rewatch. I think that it's a good speaking in terms of this trilogy. I think that it's like a good place for. I think it's a great movie because it not only takes like all the fans of Rocky and kind of like introduces them into like kind of like a new like era of filmmaking, almost like a new I guess a new generation of filmmaking. But
Coogler.
Yeah, with Ryan Coogler, but it also like does a good job of not like panhandling stuff and like kind of like forcing a lot of the Rocky stuff. And I thought it was really good. I thought that the fights were really good in the first movie. They're like each movie has unique fight scenes and they're all filmed differently, but the first one I thought was a lot more like intimate than the others. I thought that like you could really like feel like you were right there in the ring with them. And especially like there's like a shot where like he gets hit and he hits the floor. I thought that was a good shot. And I just thought I thought it was really good.
One thing I do like about the Creed franchise, we'll talk more about this as we get into 2 and 3, but none of the 3 movies feel the same in terms of the fight scenes. Seems like each one kind of has a more distinct style than the other. And I like that. Obviously, some people may think it gets silly or whatever, but I think Creed took what Rocky did and really elevated it in terms of the cinematography of the boxing. And then, Creed 2 did the same thing. Creed 3 did the same thing. And maybe they crank it too far. Who cares? I just like that it's different because you can only watch a couple people punch each other so many times when it's the same rule set. Obviously, like in action movies, you could do all this choreography, different flips, different trips, anything, whatever it is. You could do that stuff. But in boxing, there's a rule set. So how can you switch up these fights? How can you make them interesting? Pretty much every single Rocky movie is him getting his ass kicked for like 5 rounds, and then he turns it on at the end, and it's this big moment. So like, how do you keep doing that? Obviously, that builds suspense. That shows that he's a fighter. How do you do that over and over again? I thought the makeup in this movie definitely stands out. I think this is the one that has the eye.
Yeah.
One of the better looking like swollen eyes I've ever seen as a special effect. Really, really convincing. Like you're watching it, and there's not a lot of times you'll be watching a movie and like you're kind of cringing at it because it's just like, God, his eye, man, don't do that.
Yeah, and they just let him just keep going. Like they should have checked
Yeah.
him again after he was like already get up to go. They should have asked him if or to read off the numbers again, and he would definitely wouldn't have been able to. I feel like.
Yeah. But I always felt like Creed was, you could say it's a movie about sports, but I always kind of felt like it was a romance movie that had like the guise of sports and boxing and chasing greatness and stuff, because I feel like the whole franchise, I guess less so in 3, and I guess that would be my only complaint about, not only, but is like Tessa Thompson's character, Bianca. I think comes off pretty likable in this. And I don't know, even though they don't have like the best chemistry, it's a super believable relationship to me. And at least I'm like rooting for it. Like I'm not wanting it to fail. I'm like, I have some emotional investment in it, and then I get to watch some cool boxing scenes, and then I get out of there in about 2 hours, and I'm feeling good. I'm feeling motivated to go punch something.
Yeah, seriously.
So Creed 1 did about a 95% on Rotten Tomato, 82% on Metacritic, 7.6 on IMDb, and 87% of Google users liked it. So it's an interesting kind of spread there, but as you know, guys, Rotten Tomato score, not a rating. It's a thing. Source on that? Source? Creed 2. Let's go ahead and get into that one. What did you, real quick, rate Creed 1 out of 5 stars there?
So, last night I rated it, but I think I'll bump it up to 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. So I'm guessing you gave it a 4 originally.
Yeah, I gave it a 4 originally.
Yeah, that's fair. That's good. And if you guys are curious of any of our reviews, we do have our letterbox below here. So feel free to look at that if you want to critique the inconsistency in my movie views. Go for it. Mm-hmm. But Creed 2, it's more of the same. You get Dolph Lundgren coming back as Ivan Drago, and you get another like legacy storyline. While the first one was all about Apollo's son. This one's about Apollo v Drago, and there's some real heat here. And I think when you do these soft reboots, a lot of people, I think probably for the first one, were saying, why does this have to be in the Rocky universe? Why does he have to be Creed's son? Why can't you make it a new franchise? I think this movie really showed the advantages of having it in like this Rocky universe, because I felt like there was a lot more like stakes to this fight, because Drago literally killed his dad.
Yeah,
like,
definitely. Yeah, and the casting of Drago's son, like that guy's huge. Yeah. And like I feel like they did a great job also of like every time you're just like, how's he gonna just like make it through this alive even.
Yeah.
Like I was like, I know I got one more movie after this, but like he literally looks like he's just like about to die. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And no, so yeah, they do a really good job of doing this in the second movie, and it kind of does a Spider-Man 2 thing where he kind of like dips off using his quote unquote abilities, if I'm using Spider-Man terms, but yeah, he like quits boxing, and then he kind of like goes through some life stuff, and then eventually gets back into it. But yeah, I thought that it was a good. It still it felt like it was like a good sequel formulaic film, but I thought that it worked with the formula really well, and that yeah, I thought that was really good.
Yeah, I think this is the film that's, I think, lowest rated critically, coming in at about a 82% on Rotten Tomato. And then 66 on Metacritic, 7.1 on IMDb. But 90% of Google users, those Google users, they be piping up. I think the thing that brought it down for me was the weird like subplot of Drago's son, if you know what I'm talking about, of like Russia, but he's actually from Ukraine, but he got like annexed, or he was from Russia, got like annexed to Ukraine. It's very strange.
Was that the whole subplot with his mother, or like his mom or whatever?
His mom was like, yeah, you aren't good enough. I don't know. Like they treat like the Russians like savages, right? They treat them like they don't care about anything other than winning. And it's like, fine, if you want to do that, fuck the Russians, I guess. But then the final fight takes place in Russia. And like, look, I understand it's 2016, 2017 in the film, something like that. 2018 in the film. In 2018, we're super forward. Look, a black man cannot go into Russia and get cheered. I'm sorry. That's just the reality of the situation. I don't care how good of a fight he puts on. It's Russia. They are not going to cheer the American guy winning. There's just not a shot. So I thought that was a little bit silly, especially if you're going to treat the Russians, all the Russians in the movie, like these cold-hearted, people. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, what a great fight. I'm on board with this American thing. So, well, I think the setup with it being Drago's son is pretty genius. I say genius, but it really is kind of easy to do. But I think the execution was a little messy. They should have either given him an actual backstory fully fleshed out, or just axed it and make him this evil person, no sympathetic side. Because trying to half-ass a sympathetic side, I don't think it worked.
Yeah, I guess that didn't even really come through for me when I was watching it. I was like kind of confused at the end when like the mom just got up and left. Like I thought that was what Dolph Lundgren was talking about, how he was like my mom, or my wife left me because I lost.
Yeah. No, it's a very strange subplot. It is confusing. It's a confusing kind of thing. And I don't know if I got it 100% right. So if I'm wrong, correct me in the comments. But like, it's a very confusing bit of plot, and it feels like stuff was cut to maybe trim it down. This one came out at about 2 hours 10 minutes.
Ty,
maybe it was looking to be.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Audio. Anyways, this one came in at about 2 hours and 10 minutes. And I think what most likely happened is there's probably like 20 more minutes of movie. And like some producers were like, we can't release a 2.5 hour movie about boxing. So you're going to have to trim this down. And the stuff that got trimmed was the Drago stuff, because it really feels like there's like 2 or 3 scenes missing.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely seems like the weakest out of the three of them. And I thought that if we want to go into the third one, I thought that the third one did a good job at reinventing the franchise and doing a spin on it that wasn't like, because the end of the movie was all about he became his own legacy and his own fighter, and how the next one just started out with him just instantly just like being like, hot shit and running the gym and
no, I agree.
Did yours pause?
Yeah, it did, but like I didn't talk, so we're good. We could stay in it, keep it moving. Having some technical difficulties as Winter Storm goes over. I say that I have no idea why. I have no idea. Charter Communications, get your crap together. But yeah, I I heard the part where you said they reinvented as Trent freezes again, but this is like a 1.5 person podcast here. One of us takes a turn, has no idea what the other says. We come back, try to piece it together. Hopefully Trent said something about them kind of reinventing what this movie was, and you kind of had to break it down and bring it all back to kind of get an idea of what to do next, because I think Trent kind of hit it on the head when it came to Creed 2 is I kind of did feel like kind of pretty safe sequel. It's a good movie, but I think this one took a bit more risks, and I think those risks did pay off. Watching this movie does make you even sadder about the Jonathan Majors stuff, because he absolutely kills it in this role. But overall, what did you think of the action scenes? Because I think that's the most notable part about the movie for me.
Yeah, I thought that the use of slow motion cameras was super cool. There was only a handful of shots where that was used, but yeah, the slow-mo shots were super cool. Just seeing like the up-close jabs and stuff to when they were hitting each other.
You were talking about the
slow motion cameras, and
yeah,
and how it would always go, or a handful of times it would go up close with the jabs, and it would show up in slow motion, and I thought that was a really cool use of that.
Yeah, and then I think it was Michael B. Jordan. He did have more input on this one, as you tend to do when you make it 3 films into a franchise. You can kind of start throwing your weight around.
He directed this movie too.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even know that. Look at that. Coogler did do the story. Yeah. That's a heck of a directorial debut. It's a pretty big budget directorial debut. It was written by Coogler, so he had that help, but he was super into the kind of anime side of things. He's a big anime guy, and I think you get kind of the Dragon Ball Z aspect. If you ever wanted to know what a live action Dragon Ball Z thing would be, I think Michael B. Jordan would be a pretty decent bet, because he gets it. He gets it, because those scenes when the one where the crowd's just not there, and they're just fighting one-on-one, that was cool. I was like, okay.
Yeah, that scene was super cool. And he's looking at him, and he sees him, it flashes back to his childhood. You see Damien as a child, and and then they just box, and it's there's no ref. The ref isn't even there. It's literally just them. It's super cool.
Yeah. It's a really just fun story. I think. It's a bit unbelievable of a story, and kind of feels like if 2 is a sequel, 3 is hey, we gotta make something up to have a third movie, and they absolutely just made something up. The entire plot is built around this convenience store robbery thing that turns into a guy dying, and then Damien, Jonathan Majors' character, taking the fall, going to prison, coming out of prison, and just being the top boxer in the world. Dude was an animal, I guess, and was kind of goofy setup, but I think it worked mainly because of the performances of Michael B. Jordan and Jonathan Majors. They really made it work, despite the silly story, which, considering that was done by Coogler and the directing was done by you would kind of expect it to be the other way around, but
they should have. Now that I just thought of this, they should have done a Fast and Furious style retcon where, it cuts back to the first movie where the mom takes him, and then it just pans over, and you see the kid just sitting there, all pissed off.
Oh my god, I would have lost it at that. That is hilarious.
Yeah.
That's basically what happened in a sense. Obviously not literally, but in a sense, yeah. And it definitely portrays Adonis as kind of an asshole. Just because, obviously he had his reasons. He couldn't just, take it back. He couldn't do that, but I don't know. It was an interesting kind of situation he had going on there. But I think the movie in general, it's a nice. It's the shortest one at 1 hour and 56 minutes. 88% on Rotten Tomatoes, 73 on Metacritic, 6.7 on IMDb. But only 78% of Google users like this. So Google users all over the board with it. But it seems like the majority of critics agree Creed 3, then Creed 2. But overall, super solid trilogy. I'm interested to see what they do with the Creed franchise. I would love them to just take a new fighter and just continue it. Like, you don't need to watch the Rocky franchise, but it's just kind of a fun thing to have these characters popping up. And you can instantly recognize them. Like, even like Drago's son. Like, say in 10 years they make another movie and Drago's son comes out speaking all Russian and stuff, people are going to be like, oh, it's Drago's son.
Yeah.
Without even seeing the Creed franchise, you would know. So, like, these characters are enough of a caricature and kind of more of a stereotype of boxing that I think it's kind of just a fun, kind of reminds me of Nintendo's Punch-Out a little bit with just, like, the characters that they would have in there. But you're keeping this, like, legacy going. I'd say go for it. Like, who cares? I know everyone's kind of against the convoluted cinematic universes, but I think this is one of the most, like, linear cinematic universes ever. So,
yeah, I could easily see them doing like just some random, like a spin-off of, and just keeping this franchise going, but not having it under the Creed name. I think that I think this works as a solid trilogy. I think that things somehow work perfectly in threes, and all three of these movies seem really solid.
Yeah, it is strange that we got to the point where, like, a trilogy is like a normal thing. Like, that's like what you come to expect. Having like 4 movies is kind of strange.
Yeah.
Which it's like 4 chapters sounds more normal to me, like, than 3 chapters, but I don't know. I think it's just more if a movie's lifespan generally is like a franchise's lifespan. If it's like 10 years, movie every 3 years, I think that's the logic behind it.
Yeah.
Kind of boom, 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 space them out if you're going to be releasing them like that. So maybe that's it. But yeah, the Creed franchise in general, I definitely recommend it. I think if you're a fan of sports movies in general, that's the best trilogy that has come out. I don't even know when other sports trilogies are few and far between. So
yeah, I can't think of another one. This is a solid one. I hope to see more, just like movies that like more sports movies that are that like get more like intimate with the characters like it does.
Yeah, no, I'd love to see, watching this, I'd love to see, like, you know, Coogler or like Michael B. Jordan tackle a basketball, like, football movie, just because I think the way they did Creed hasn't really been done. I think most basketball, football movies are pretty samey. They all kind of follow the same Coach Carter hustle kind of vibe. I don't know how to explain it. This one kind of got a bit sillier, and I like that, while also staying grounded and the illusion of seriousness, while not taking itself too seriously.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, that is the Creed franchise. The same Coach Carter hustle kind of vibe. I don't know how to explain it. This one kind of got a bit sillier, and I like that, while also staying grounded and the illusion of seriousness, while not taking itself too seriously.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, that is the Creed franchise.